Hello and welcome to another video of biohackingmyillness.com. Today I will be reviewing my blood work from September 2021. So it's actually late and I would like to do this now. I mean, I didn't have the time to do it before, but the reason why I'm doing it now is because I will have more blood work done very soon, and so I would like to have a baseline for comparison and also telling you what I'm trying to biohack at the moment. So I'll go through the entire thing. This is going to take a while, and keep in mind that there's a lot of, I mean, I've been studying blood work for a long time now. There's much things that are not as obvious as they look sometimes, or as they may appear to be. But again, this is only my own experience, so please read the disclaimer down below the video. I'm not a medical doctor. This is not a way to cure or diagnose your own illness. This is only for for the purpose of my own information, and this is only for informational purposes, okay? So this is I'm doing this for myself. If you really want to do it for your own particular case, then you should go and see a doctor, okay? So with that out of the way, I'll start with the Hemogram, which is the thing that really tells you how your red blood cells and white blood cells are working. And so what happens here is my red blood cells are actually okay. I don't have, I mean, for the rest of the blood work, you will be able to see colors that really determine like how things are based on my own calculations and parameters. But for the hemogram, I was not able to do that yet. I will get to that at some point, and then because I'll be using this very same calculator all along, I need to get some time to do that. By the way, this calculator is not offered, so please do not send me an email on this. I've got tons and tons of information. It would be impractical to actually provide this spreadsheet, because there's so many notes and so many things that are tailored for my particular case that I could not hand it out. Anyways, so let's get down to it. Red blood cells 5.26. This is close to the range, so I would say it's not optimal, but it's fine. I don't seem to have any kind of anemia based off of this. And the rest of the parameters are okay. They're not perfect, but they are, I'm decently happy with those. The only thing that really bothers me right now is the RDW, the red distribution width, red cell distribution width, which is too high. And this is actually a marker for inflammation. If I go to this side of thing, like from 2018 actually, we can see that I had better results. So right now it's inflamed, and one of the things that I'm trying to do to correct this is quarcetin and astaxanthin and some boswellia based extract that is supposed to modulate inflammation. Sadly, I cannot do turmeric, so that is off right now. But hopefully, and since I've been doing this for the last months, I hope that the next blood work, which is be right close to the end of the year, will have this one a little bit better. If this is better, it means that I've got some level of inflammation in my body, which I think it's really due to the gut. But it would be the proof that if I bring it down, especially to less than 12%, this would be really phenomenal, and the proof that I need that quarcetin and boswellia and some other things that I'm using do work. If they do work, and I'm able to bring this down, then I'll share the products with you guys on, what I've done exactly. Then we've got another problem here, which is the white blood cells. So this has been chronically low. I'm really at the lower end of the range, and to be honest, I've been on and on and on with around the subject, and recently I started to believe that this is actually due to the existence of parasites. I've recently started to address parasites, even though I'm only doing very, little work compared to what I intend to do. I really want to take things slow, even though with parasites and other infections, that's sometimes a problem because they get used to the compounds that I use as long as you're using natural nutraceuticals, which is my case, I've learned. So this may be a problem, but that's the way I do it. I'm experiencing die-off around, specific times. I'll comment on the parasite protocol later on, but just so you know, I do hope that in the next 6 to 12 months, this parameter goes higher actually. So I really need to up my immune system. I've tried several things with minor results, so we can see this 4.6, 4.4, 4.8. This may also be due to metals and mercury in particular. I don't question that, but I think that parasites may be playing a role. My take on parasites is that probably 99.999% of people, on this planet do have parasites, as long as they do population control and they keep using nutraceuticals and such to get rid of them. So in my case, since I've got an issue with metals and metal toxicity, it's even more obvious that I may have a parasite or that I actually have a parasite problem. So because these things go hand in hand really, but do your own research and see it for yourself, know it for yourself. But in my own case, I do believe that I have parasites in the gut, and I'm trying to clear this out. And I think that they are contributing to a low immune system, which is reflected on the white blood cells. Now, I've also learned over time that being this low or being on the lower end of the range, or even below that, which is often the case for me. You can see here that I have, on many occasions, I do have 3.5, whereas the minimum is 4. But I've learned that this is really, really unique to the person. So a lot of people have like 3 or 4, not a lot of people, but some people do have that, and it's actually not a problem. But I would say, by the way, the best way to do this is when you're perfectly healthy at 16 years old, you get a shot of this, and then you compare it to that. Sadly, I was not able to find, such old blood work results, but eventually I think that I'll get to those. And I just assume that this is too low for me. Okay, but also not only the amount of white blood cells, but also the composition of those. They are very unique to the person. So, again, blood work is really, this is all statistics. This is not medicine, right? When the range of a given parameter is defined, then this is purely statistics. This is not medicine. There was nobody super expert on medicine that said that the range for, white blood cells is 4 to 10. This is based off of statistics of people who do blood works. And then, there's a lot to learn about this, but I'll not get into that any further. So the real problem right here seems to be that the balance between neutrophils and lymphocytes is actually very off. It has been off for a while. This indicates chronic infection. It should be around 3, so it's quite of a problem. And also the white blood cells are low. I just assume that this is a problem for me. So I think that this has to do with infections. I'll get to that, later on. This is not going to be fixed in 6 months, 3 months. It's not going to. I don't expect this to be better in the blood work that I'm about to do. So yeah, I'll just. This is a long-term thing for me, for sure. The immune system. Now, platelets have been low all the time. I think that this is due to bad spleen. Every single time I work on my spleen, I do have better results, but not significantly better results. And hopefully this will be corrected as long as it's not really a priority for me, to be honest. It's still within range, so I'll not worry about it now, but in the future, I do plan to worry about this particular parameter and improve it. Iron panel, this is a big one, very, very important. Iron is such an important mineral in the body. And the most important thing is that TSAT, the transferrin saturation, should be above 40, especially if you're doing thyroid hormone, supplementing thyroid hormone. Look it up, and mine is low. I have been consuming iron-rich foods like red meat and beets, and for some reason they do not, iron does not go up. Because every time the blood iron goes up, then all the other parameters go up as well, and this doesn't seem to be good. Now, ferritin, and you may be questioning why I have like the optimal range for ferritin to be between 30 and 60. There's conflicting research on this. Ferritin, some people say it's the reserves of iron and therefore you want to have them within range. Some people say it's a very inflammatory marker and you would like to have it lower. I'm kind of on the fence on this, to be honest. I'm not sure. What I do know is that my TSAT, transferrin saturation, which is basically, as you can see here, you basically divide the total iron binding capacity TIBC over the iron, and that will give you the TSAT. And this one I know it's too low, so I'll keep pushing some iron, perhaps even cook on some iron coated pan or something. But right now this is bad, and I'm doing the best I can with beets and red meat, but this seems I do seem to have a problem in my iron panel somehow. It may also go back to parasites or pathogens in the gut, which is really a problem for me. I don't know. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll go and do lactoferrin, which is truly an iron chelator as long as you do APO or APO lactoferrin, and it will not really chelate the iron out of your body. It will make it actually more bioavailable. But look it up for yourself. I will do this to make my iron more bioavailable at the same time that I'm making it less available to pathogens. So this is really one of the things that I'll try. Again, this is not going to be reflected in the next blood work that I'll do, so I do not expect major changes in the iron panel because I'm not on lactoferrin yet. I just actually ordered it, and it was not due to the iron panel. It is more due to the pathogenic protocol that I'm about to follow. Minerals and metals. In this occasion, I hadn't been on magnesium a lot, so it came below the range. And so after this, I started to supplement with magnesium way more. So I do expect this to go up. Zinc, I stopped all my supplementation of zinc because in the beginning of the year, or April actually, 2021, it was higher than the range. So I stopped it. Now, once I've seen that it's on the lower range, I restarted zinc L-carnosine because I really need it for my gut. And let's see, this is something that I'll monitor, but essentially what I learned is that I cannot go full blown on zinc because otherwise it will be too much for my system. Rbc sodium, this stuff is really important. This is it's really puzzling. And research-wise, because a lot of people say that this doesn't have any meaning, and some other people say that it's a great indicator for adrenal fatigue and whatnot. I'm still on the fence about this, to be honest. I mean, you will be able to see like other parameters below that I'm well more versed and educated on, but I'm still kind of puzzled on this one because, to be honest, I haven't noticed any pattern, and it's really, I don't know what happened. So in this particular case, for my RBC sodium to go from 7.6 to 18.7 in a matter of so well within range to well out of range in a matter of 3 months. So I'm still getting some data on this. RBC potassium really seems to be a good indicator for potassium toxicity or deficiency. A lot of people are deficient in potassium. I'm not excluded of that. And as a result, I've been supplementing more potassium. So hopefully next semester, which is actually around the corner, my potassium, RBC potassium will be higher. Selenium, I do supplement with transdermal selenium. It's not out of whack. It was out of whack. And this, I actually wrote a post on my blog saying that I was using selenomethionine or methionine, and that was really Then at some point I brought an expert to the podcast and we talked about this. SAN, this form of selenium may get integrated in your proteins and lead to toxicity, apparently. And so I switched over to selenite, which is a different form, and I didn't have any. Yes, it was higher, for sure. It's on the higher range of things, but I don't think. Let's see how this comes up next semester, next quarter. So I talk more about this, but I'm not overly concerned now that I switched over to a better form. I think I'm not overly concerned, and this has significant implications in the thyroid panel, which is much more significant to me. Lithium is low. Very low lithium is correlated with depression most of the time. So you want to make sure that your lithium is not really low, but this is actually not the best way to test for lithium. So I am, not extracting a lot of value from this really good parameter. Now, iodine first thing in the morning. This is urine. This one was not the first piece of the morning, if you will. So I can't extract much value out of this. Hopefully next quarter. And over time, blood work is really a snapshot. And the only, in my view, and this is really my opinion, is for you to get good information out of it, you really need to get tested over time and see what happens over time. Otherwise, it will not provide you with much information. Now, vitamin B12, this is good. It was also good on my oat test, so I don't seem to have a B vitamin problem because it's thought not to saturate and not create toxicity. I'm still supplementing with it. B9, this one is okay, I would say. It's well within range, so this is good. Vitamin B6, I don't have the optimal results, and to be honest, I suspect that there's something wrong with my vitamin B6 because my O test showed low vitamin B6 and my blood work says it's fine. But if I go to the really concerning parameter that I have, homocysteine, which should be below 7 and mine is almost 18, then I have a problem with my methylation. And B6 is highly involved in methylation as well as B12 and B9. And there's just something that I'm quite not getting. And I'll do way more research around this one for sure. Fibrinogen, it's basically a B12 antagonist, so this should be okay. Many people say below 200, but below 250 is actually fine. Actually, matter of fact, I'll change this right now. So if it is less than 200, it's fine. If it is between 220 and 250, that's still okay. So it's not the best thing in the world, but it's fine. This is super bad. Like I said, it should be below 7. Okay, below 9 is really. I was always a bad methylator, but recently this year this has become, a focus for me and a huge concern, if you will. Vitamin D, it came down. The reason why I think that I have low inflammatory parameters is due to good vitamin D. This came down 60, came below 60, and therefore I started to resupplementing it again. I would like to have it between 60 and 80, that's for sure. Vitamin E, I'm not supplementing this. It's well below range, but I think that I'll benefit from vitamin E supplementation every now and then. Because it's highly protective to my brain. I'm not saying this in general, just in my own case, it supported my brain and protected my brain a lot. So I may go back to this in a minute. So I'll see how things stand now as soon as I have the next blood work and then do it. Insulin resistance, fasting glucose. Yeah, this actually should be glucose. Sorry. This is really optimal, no problem. The only problem that I have, and it's minor, it's my hemoglobin A1C, which is pretty much indicating glycation here. Fasting insulin, this is perfect. I'm on a mildly ketosis or ketogenic diet, so I really didn't expect this to be much higher. I did have some grains, white rice this semester. Like I said in previous videos, I actually just stopped it, and I'll tell you more about my diet in another video. But it should be okay. It should be below 6 or at most 6. I mean, right now next semester I do expect it to be around 4, maybe 5. Around 3 and 5. So this is not really concern for me. IGF-1, this is something that I still doing a lot of research on. I think that this has severe implications, but I'm not really saying anything else right now because I'm still studying this parameter. I did have a solid opinion on it, and now recent research changed my mind quite a bit around it. The HOMA parameter is really what you need to know whether your insulin and fasting glucose and whatnot is okay, and mine is just perfect. So I don't have any insulin resistance. Kidney panel, this has been bad all the time. It's not perfect. My creatinine is usually higher than the range, or at least very close to the higher range of things, and as well as my urea. So this has been a problem for me. I don't know how to correct my kidney panel, but I'm not working actively on the kidneys, to be honest. So I'll just test this over time, and eventually, after I get rid of some other things that are much more concerning to me, I'll go and fix my kidneys or biohack my kidneys. My cholesterol has been okay. I don't think it should be, at least in my case, below 190, even though a lot of people will tell you that. In my own case, I would like to have it above 200 because it's really fundamental for hormone production and such. What is bad for me is my HDL, which is it's just low compared to what I want to have, and my LDL is really bad. It's really high, and these are two parameters that are really bad. So there's something that with my lipid panel that doesn't seem quite okay. My triglycerides is also not ideal, but the triglycerides over HDL ratio, which should be below 2, is okay. It's not optimal, but it's not bad, and therefore I'm not widely concerned with this. What I would like to have though is a lower LDL and a higher HDL. I think that my diet, because I limited it on purpose, is fostering some of this, to be honest. And eventually I'll have to get to this. Okay, electrolytes all within range, except for potassium that got really, really low. I'm doing saunas. I'm trying to replace all my minerals and electrolytes. I think that I fall very short on this semester, but next semester's, this is really what I'm in this quarter, and in the next quarters, this is really something that I cannot drop the ball with. Bilirubins, this is liver panel, but the most important liver panel is this one. And guess what? Over time, my liver got worse and worse and worse. I'm working on it. I'm trying to find the problem. It's very hard, but the worst thing is that last quarter I tested the worst parameter ever. AST over ALT should be below 1. If it is higher than 1, most often than not is a big problem. Sometimes it's not bad. The great news is that this quarter I've done a lot of coffee enemas. I actually started them this quarter. I was afraid of using coffee due to the thiol content, but I don't react to coffee enemas, and so I do expect this one to be much better. If it ain't, then I'll have to keep looking and until I find it. Lactic acid shows mitochondrial dysfunction, thyroid problems. Again, my thyroid, I didn't get to the thyroid panel yet, but this is not good. This is really, really not good, and I'm still working on this. Carnitines and whatnot are supposed to alleviate this problem. They don't work well for me, so I think that I have to get back to this. This quarter I didn't do any carnitines, so I'm just curious to see what this will come out at. But later I'll have to introduce the carnitines for sure. So I'll just create another tab here to tell you what I'm going to do. So carnitines is a big thing. I'll go with L-carnitin in the fumarate form, probably, and L-car acetyl L-carnitin. Okay, so this one is checked. Also liver, more coffee enemas. But again, I will have to wait for the results of this quarter and just keep looking for the problem, really. AST over ALT, this is really not good. Okay, then what did I say about this? More minerals, electrolytes. This is also something that I'm gonna do. Okay. What else? You bring this down here. What else did I say? I'll look into the kidney later on. Insulin resistance should be fine. Methylation, really, methylation is, it's probably my biggest problem right now, really. And they've been trying to biohack this thing in several different ways, and I couldn't. So I'm working with I'm trying to work with a methylation ninja now to see what's popping. So regarding methylation, so zinc. To be honest, I do micro zinc. I do like to 10 milligrams of zinc, not more. And I'm not using copper. Eventually, I want to get to 1 milligram of copper. But for now, I'm just using about. It's probably not even 10 because I just open up a capsule and I just split it up among different doses. So the reason why I'm doing this is that I take the L-carnitin form for gut purposes. Okay. Zinc carnisins, I'll keep doing this. Iron, 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 iron. Keep on top of the red meat and beets, right? Well, I'll have to increase my vitamin C if iron is still low. And then as far as white blood cells, just look at the results after addressing parasites. Okay, so this is what I've said so far. Let's keep rolling. Insulin resistance is fine. Lipid panel there's something to correct here, so try to up HDL and lower LDL. This is something that I'll have to investigate on how to actually do this. Electrolytes, I think that I said, yeah, just keep on those. Liver panel, check out liver or AST. No, actually it's already here, right? So liver, it's covered. Metabolism, it's the L-carnitines or the carnitines, and see the effect on acid or lactic acid. My brain is not working properly today, for sure. And then sex hormones, right? Total testosterone is fine. Free testosterone is very low. So this is still something that puzzles me as far as conversion. And this is something that I've been, I'll keep on it. Keep on understanding why total T to free T conversion ain't optimal. Yeah, it's actually bad. It's very bad. So it's not about optimality. And this is really something that I really have to, because my free testosterone would have to be at least 20, right? That's how I want to be. I want it to be at. Estradiol has a small problem, which is I've tried and looked all over the place for the optimal values for estradiol in blood. I do have that on saliva, but I never found anything. Even the Bredesen protocol does not state estradiol for men, so I'm really concerned about this. Prolactin is, it's red here, but it's not that bad. I'm not worried about it right now. DHT is a little high, but it's really surprising that my estradiol is within range. My free testosterone is low, and my DHT is not really high, and my total testosterone is really, really high. So I have a very hard time understanding this. Where is my testosterone going? I don't know. It is consistently very high. Sometimes it's through the roof. Like, I think that I've hit 1,000, to be honest. And then, the possible conversions are not there for some reason. Sex hormone binding globulin. That was why I pronounced it, because it didn't seem right. SHBG is not, through the roof. Ideally, it should be a little lower, but it's definitely not it's just a matter of optimality. It's not bad. And DHEAS, the sulfate form, is still correct and good. But I am supplementing a little bit, 12.5 milligrams of DHEA. So this is just stuff that I would like to monitor over time, that I have to monitor over time, but it's probably okay right now. Carnitine function, this is within range, and then we get to the real problem. Okay, so the thyroid is really my main problem, and this is actually quite obvious. My total T3 and my free T3 are lower than I would like them to be. That's a fact, but they are not really. So I mean, I could spend hours and hours and hours talking about this problem. So let's start with T4, which is actually the first thing that we look at. It is, after supplementing with a few things, I finally biohacked this for good. It seems my total T4 is fine. It's actually perfect. So my free T4, it's also relatively good. It's not as perfect as T4, but it's relatively good. My TSH, which had been a problem for a long time, has finally started to approach, the range I would like it to be in. Ideally, I would like it to be around 1, but below 1.7 is still very good. Which means that, look at this, that what I'm doing is actually working, and I think that this has to do with transdermal minerals that I'm supplementing with. Because if we compare that to last quarter, my TSH went down more than 50% actually, and my total T4 in free T4 went up, which is highly contradictory, except if the thyroid is simply working better. So this is probably one of my biggest achievements, especially if considering that we're talking about a 3-month period. And I think that I'm getting somewhere with this, okay? This was really, really good. Now, the problem, and so this is good, and hopefully next quarter, it will remain, similar to this. Because that would mean that whatever I'm doing is working, and I know what I'm doing, and I'll tell you in a different post. As soon as I actually biohack the thyroid for, say, 4 consecutive quarters, I'll tell you exactly the protocol that I've used. Okay, the problem now is, this is the first problem that I have. Even though my total T4 and my free T4 are fine, my total T3 and my free T3 are not really as good as the rest. So if I had them at 1.25 and 3.62, which are parameters that I was only able to get with a crazy high TSH. I mean, I'm embarrassed at this number, okay? That was the only moment in which I was able to get this numbers. So this means that my T4 to T3 conversion is not good. And I'll have to work more on it. I'll just for now, what I'm gonna do is I'll put just T4 to T3 conversion. So this is essentially biohack this, and I think that I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I think that I will be able in 3 quarters from now. Perhaps I would say, third quarter of 2022, my thyroid will be entirely biohacked. I hope so, because I have a pretty good idea of what to do. Okay. Now, as far as antibodies, this is not of concern. This 34, it was not below 28, which is the maximum accuracy of this test. So it could be 1, it's still under 28. It's higher, but it's not of much concern right now. The main problem that I have, and this is a massive concern, is my reverse T3, which is even higher than what I had than ever. This is the highest test that I've had in my life, and it should be below 0.2. So this is a very big problem for me. And I believe that unless I address the gut pretty heavily, I will not be able to control this. And this explains why I'm feeling hypermetabolic and such. My metabolism has its brakes on reverse T3 for sure. I will talk more about this in the future on how I expect to correct this, but this is really, and I've tried a lot. Keep trying to correct RT3. I've tried a lot to do this, right? And the only the reason why I say this has to be related to the gut is because I've tried a lot of things. Like I've gone deep with this, okay, and I was not able to fix it yet. I presume that in the next quarter it will be similar. I mean, it may be 40, maybe 50, maybe 60, maybe 35. It's still not good. This is something that we want below 0.2 for sure. And this is something that I'll have to biohack entirely. I do expect to have this corrected in a matter of perhaps I'm not saying really below 0.2 consistently, but I'm saying have some kind of acceptable degree before perhaps mid 2022. I have to have this fixed to some extent. And yeah, so all my ratios are bad. Like, total T3 to reverse T3, this is really, really bad. It should be below 6. It should be higher than 6 for sure, minimum. Ideally between 10 and 15. This is really bad. It's a hypermetabolic parameter. Free T3 to reverse T3 is bad as well, which means that these two are just ratios that basically say that my reverse T3 is really high, okay? Because my total and free T3 are not that low. They are not optimal, but they are not that low. Now, this right here, it's this one is missing for some reason. I apologize. Just give me a sec here, guys, please. So this should be, let's see, this is free T3 over free T4, right? I don't really understand free T3, why this is not here. I use this calculator all the time, over free T4. And essentially, this indicates the efficiency of the conversion of T4 into T3, the most important ones being the free versions, right? So I've got a problem there. It's not a super significant problem, and I don't think that my body was converting it better, earlier this year. This is just a reflex of upping T4, but still my conversion is not optimal for sure. This is what I was saying before. Like, how is it possible that my T4, total T4 and free T4 are really good and my T3 is not good? It has to do with the conversion problem. I don't think it is a huge problem for me. I think that reverse T3 is a much, much, much more severe problem that I have to fix. And this is my take on the thyroid. I do expect, in 6 months to 9 to 12 months most, to have my thyroid entirely biohacked. And reverse T3 may have to do with the gut and not the thyroid, or not a truly conversion problem, which seems to be the case between T4 and T3. But so I'll work on it for sure. But at the same time, this one is going to take more time than this conversion right here. Okay, so inflammation is still good. I think that my high vitamin D contributes a lot to this. My adrenals are actually okay. I'm able to produce more cortisol with less ACTH, I'm sorry, which is good news. Let's see how they are next semester. I'm only doing adaptogens for my adrenals, so I hope that this continues to improve little by little, and let's see how it is. So keep on adaptogens. So this is really what I have to do based on these results. I hope that you guys learned anything, and kept interested in my journey, in my ideas. If you have something to say, do it down below, please. And also, please consider to support this project by PayPaling me, some amount. It may be $1. This will make it possible for me to buy supplements, for instance, that I'll talk about in these videos, and say exactly what I've used to correct a few things and biohack a few things. Honestly, my goal is to be in full health, like feeling super amazing all the time, and having this column all dark green. That's really my goal long term, and this is a journey. I will work on the calculator as well, like putting more, formatting color-wise, more parameters, and talk more about them. But I think that, in a few years, I'll be able to get there. And thank you so very much for following the journey. Again, this is not medical advice. I hope that you read the disclaimer. It's below the video. If you're watching this outside of YouTube, just go there, please, to read the disclaimer. And on top of it, if you got some value out of this video, please consider a donation. It could be a small one, that's fine. Okay? See you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Have a great one and in good health.